Matrix Encryption product demo with holographic character mapping. Okay, so just a little introduction before we get into the demonstration proper. We would like to give a little context for what we're going to be looking at. And first of all, holographic character mapping is all about non-determinism. And essentially, when we say that something is indeterminate, it means that it cannot be determined. Just that simple. Prime example is a person's age. So when you look at an adult, you don't know how old they are, and you can only guess at their actual age without knowing their birth date and otherwise having inside information, privy information. It's indeterminate. It cannot be determined. Some people are 20 and look 40. Some people are 40 and look 20. And any manner or all ranges in between. And so the meaning of a non-deterministic algorithm in terms of computer science is simply an algorithm that, given the same input, will produce different outputs for various runs of the algorithm. And that is exactly what matrix encryption with HCM does. If you want to learn the particulars about HCM, I highly recommend watching our YouTube video, Holographic Character Mapping, a huge victory for structural integrity. There's a link in the description. And so essentially what HCM is effectively doing is it makes it so that it's impossible to determine the length of the original data simply from the length of the encryption, which, as the name of the previously referenced video suggests, this is important for the structural integrity of the algorithm rather than the brute force resilience. And the other thing is that when you encrypt and decrypt with matrix encryption, this is without holographic character mapping, you're going to get a third party is going to just try brute force. They're going to use random keys and codices in combination. These are going to produce gibberish. And it just so happens that there are so many possibilities that you get a situation where you can get what we call faux decryptions. These are legible or semi-legible data that's going to look correct, but it's going to be totally wrong and have nothing to do with the actual original data. And the only problem was, before HCM, you could tell that a decryption was wrong because it would be too short, less than half the length that you were expecting. But with HCM, the true length of the original data becomes obscured, and so you cannot simply discard data just because it's gibberish. And there again, the legible or semi-legible data of any arbitrary length could be the correct data. You just don't know because HCM takes away the ability to know what the correct length of the data is. I hope that makes sense. Please ask me questions if you have any. Thank you, and let's move on with the demonstration. Our chosen data for this demonstration is going to come from Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne, Chapter 3, The Runic Writing Exercises. And to make things interesting, I thought I would read the excerpt in addition to showing it on the screen.
Undoubtedly it is runic, said the professor, bending his brows. But there is a secret in it, and I mean to discover the key.
A violent gesture finished the sentence.
Sit there,
he added, holding out his fist towards the table.
Sit there and write.
I was seated in a trice.
Now I will dictate to you every letter of our alphabet which corresponds with each of these Icelandic characters. We will see what that will give us. But by St. Michael, if you should dare to deceive me...
The dictation commenced. I did my best. Every letter was given me one after the other, with the following remarkable result. When this work was ended, my uncle tore the paper from me and examined it attentively for a long time.
What does it all mean?
He kept repeating mechanically. Upon my honor, I could not have enlightened him. Besides, he did not ask me, and he went on talking to himself.
This is what is called a cryptogram, or cipher, he said, in which letters are purposely thrown in confusion, which, if properly arranged, would reveal their sense. Only think that under this jargon there may lie concealed the clue to some great discovery.
As for me, I was of the opinion that there was nothing at all in it, though, of course, I took care not to say so. Then the professor took the book and the parchment and diligently compared them together.
These two writings are not by the same hand, he said. The cipher is of later date than the book, an undoubted proof of which I see in a moment. The first letter is a double M, a letter which is not to be found in Turleson's book, and which was only added to the alphabet in the 14th century. Therefore, there are 200 years between the manuscript and the document.
I admitted that this was a strictly logical conclusion.
I am therefore led to imagine, continued my uncle, that some professor of this book wrote these mysterious letters. But who was that professor? Is his name nowhere to be found in the manuscript?
My uncle raised his spectacles, took up a strong lens, and carefully examined the blank pages of the book. On the front of the second, the title page, he noticed a sort of stain which looked like an ink blot, but in looking at it very closely, he thought he could distinguish some half-effaced letters. My uncle at once fastened upon this as the center of interest, and he labored at that blot until, by the help of his microscope, he ended by making out the following runic characters, which he read without difficulty.
Arne Saknessem, he cried in triumph. Why, that is the name of another Icelander, a savant of the 16th century, a celebrated alchemist.
I gazed at my uncle with satisfactory admiration.
Those alchemists, he resumed, Avicenna, Bacon, Lully, Paracelsus, were the real and only savants of their time. They made discoveries at which we are astonished. Has not this Saknessem concealed under his cryptogram some surprising invention? It is so. It must be so.
The professor's imagination took fire at this hypothesis. No doubt, I ventured to reply, but what interest would he have in thus hiding so marvelous a discovery?
Why, how can I tell? Did not Galileo do the same by Saturn? We shall see. I will get at the secret of this document, and I will neither sleep nor eat until I have found it out.
My comment on this was a half-suppressed, "Oh."
"Nor you either, Axel," he added.
"The deuce," said I to myself. "Then it is lucky I have eaten 2 dinners today."
"First of all, we must find out the key to this cipher. That cannot be difficult."
At these words I quickly raised my head, but my uncle went on soliloquizing.
"There's nothing easier. In this document there are 132 letters, 77 consonants, and 55 vowels. This is the proportion in southern languages, whilst northern tongues are much richer in consonants. Therefore, this is in a southern language. These were very fair conclusions, I thought. But what language is it? Here I looked for a display of learning, but I met instead with profound analysis. This Saknussemm, he went on, was a very well-informed man. Now, since he was not writing in his own mother tongue, he would naturally select that which was currently adopted by the choice spirits of the 16th century, I mean Latin. If I am mistaken, I can but try Spanish, French, Italian, Greek, or Hebrew, but the savants of the 16th century generally wrote in Latin. I am therefore entitled to pronounce this a priori to be Latin. It is Latin.
Okay, let's begin the demonstration. We're going to launch the forward program. This is the compiled version. As you can see, it's called Heroic Moonchild 256. It's arbitrary, obviously. And the first thing we need to do is enter the correct contract key. In this case, it is test. Now we will register an account, check availability, and give it a password. Now we're going to create a randomized 81 character codex by giving it a name. We're going to use the same name of the account that we just registered. Tester. That's the codex we just created. This is the tester codex. Finished configuring codex. Would you like to create a master key, traveler? Yes. Enter the desired number of digits. We're going to go with 20,000 digits. We get a number beginning with 44199, and it is exactly 20,000 digits long. Now we're going to log in with the account we just created. Log in. Plaintext service, codex 81, and we're activating the tester codex. And now we're going to activate holographic character mapping, and we can type between 1 and 19 characters to be randomly selected for the holographic map. We're going to go with 18, and at the bottom of the screen there in the console you can see the characters that were selected. Now again, the message we're going to encrypt is in a file called Vegeta Decryption Box. We want to encrypt this file. Now with holographic character mapping, instead of 4,705 times 2, we need 12,012, and here you can see the randomly assigned holographic characters in the map. The encryption is complete. Save to a custom file. We will call it tester_E1. Save. Return to options. We're going to do this over again. Choose Codex 81. Activate non-deterministic character mapping, and we're going to use the same number of characters, and this time a different set of characters were randomly selected. And we want to encrypt the same file, Vegeta Decryption Box. Encrypt. This time we need 11,740 digit key, and because remember last time it was 12,012, And of course, the 2-digit assignments are different. And we're going to save this to tester E2 save. Now we're done with the encryption part of the demonstration. Let's go ahead and show both of the encryptions side by side. I initially forgot to open the first one, but there they are, tester E1 and tester E2. As you can see, there they are. They have different compositions and different lengths. We'll talk a little more about their similarity after the main part of the demonstration. Now we can just leave this program open for the sake of it, and now we just need to launch the decryption program. So we will put it beside the encryption program, get our layout fixed, and go ahead and put the contract key in, log in, tester, log in, plain text service, clean things up, codex 81, use personal codex. The tester codex has been activated. We're going to upload an encryption from a custom file. So we're typing in tester E1 that we just created, odd number of digits detected, continue, upload the master key, and we're done. As soon as we click upload the master key. Decryption complete. Save to a custom file. Let's call this tester D1. Go ahead and open that file so we can compare it side by side with the resulting decryption from tester E2. So we're returning to options, we're going back in, and we're going to upload tester E2 this time. We want to decrypt it with the tester codex, odd number of digits detected, continue, upload the same master key, the tester master key, decryption complete, save to custom file, tester D2 is the file we will save to, open that file, and now look at it side by side with tester D1. And as we can see, these files are identical, even though the encryptions were obviously different, of different composition, different lengths. Holographic character mapping did that for us, and we were able to recover the exact same information. This is non-deterministic encryption. And this concludes the demonstration. Okay, just a couple of things to note now that we are finished watching the demonstration. You may have noticed that the beginning of the encryption in both cases, so where we had saved the encryption in tester E1, and then the second round we saved in tester E2, well, while the composition and lengths were different, the first few digits were the same. I think it was 20891942 or something like that, and that's normal, and essentially because HCM doesn't activate at the very beginning of the encoding, but rather picks up randomly somewhere near the beginning. Ideally, it would have selected the first character for the map, in which case only the first two digits of the encryption would be the same. with again, with the same data, the same codex, and the same key, HCM's non-determinism takes you that far, and that's, you know, as far as it can go. But and so the other thing to note is that, and this didn't happen in this example demonstration, but what can happen about 23.5% of the time, and that's just simply from Codex 81 divided by 19, and so about 23% of the time you'll get a situation where the last character, the last character was chosen for the holographic map, and in that case you have a ghost 2-digit term at the very end, and it just so happens that because of the non-injectivity whenever the encoding ends in 0, you do the encryption, and then whenever you correctly decrypt it with the right codex and key, you're going to get an incorrect final digit. And but in the case of HCM, it doesn't incorrectly interpret the last digit, but it adds an extra character at the end. So you might have a 1,000-character message get encrypted to 2,000 plus digits with HCM. You know, it's going to be chaotically longer than 2x, but then you decrypt it. If the last character was selected for the map, you're going to have 0 at the end of the encoding, which, when all is said and done, it will perfectly decrypt the data, and then you'll have just one extra character that wasn't there before. So if it was a 1,000-character message, you would get a 1,001 character message at the end. So none of the relevant data would have been corrupted, and you just would get one extra character. And that can happen, you know, up to about 23.5% of the time. This concludes the demonstration. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, this is the most updated version of matrix encryption with holographic character mapping, and if you would like to purchase this version of the software, it is not yet available on our website, matrixencryption.com, and so to get it, you would have to email me, and we'll set up a purchase. But other than that, if you have any questions, feel free to write a comment or even just email me your questions and comments. My contact information is in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you later. Take care.